wanted to be on a show that was like that. You know, the truth, honesty, like challenging myself in front of millions of people. Like I want to see what's in Johnny when I'm angry or when I'm in love and I don't get my way, or because you're a female rapper, I genuinely have male friends, and it's not that anything has ever happened, but I find that their girlfriends just don't like me.
A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to yet another exciting edition of the Chick Chat, the show that brings you the best of real and raw conversations with some inspirational women. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please do help me welcome the ever so gorgeous and multi-award winning and talented Gigi Lamayne.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
I'm here.
You look so gorgeous.
Thank you so much. Not as pretty as you. I love how girls are now in the, I don't know how to say it, in the fashion of complimenting each other. It feels great.
It does. It does. You know what I mean? You know what, Ne? I personally don't listen to a lot of hip hop, right? Before we start this interview, girl, from a writer's perspective, as a writer, your pen is sick. Listen, I was listening to your album and I was like, my goodness, from a writer's perspective, you know what I mean? Much. Not even from like a, you know, people will go deep with hip hop, but I can't go that deep because I don't really listen to it. But I was listening to your album and I just had to pause and pause and play all the time because like the words are so beautiful, you know what I mean? And speaking of words and the beauty of words, I want us to speak about Mermaids and stuff. Yeah. That's where I want to start. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was listening to Mermaids and stuff and I have to commend you with what you did with the sounds.
Thank you.
Like, you know, you move from the chanting, the African spirituality to the sound of water. Now and then we move to like a girl inside water, you know what I mean? And then we move to like the actual song, you know? And I felt like when I was listening to it, I felt like it was a merging of two worlds, the spiritual and the Gigi that we know, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So I want to know if I'm correct to think like that.
You are the first person who I've spoken to who's felt it, and I can feel it from you, right? And you're absolutely right. I think the merging came from, I did disappear for a little bit to go on my spiritual journey, and I've never, you know, for people who have met me before and people who've met me, like I came out very mature and I feel old, you know, I feel old in the world now, and I had to, it was so important that, you know, as musicians, we also are writers in the world, and I had to embody that even in the music. So you're absolutely right. For those who get it, they get it. Like with the first song, you're already like, what's about to happen? And then you go through it, and it tells the story of, you know, a zero to hero person. A woman in particular who goes on a spiritual journey, lots of life changes, you know, that had to take place. You know, before the album, I was involved in a very toxic relationship where I was, you know, abused by the person I was in a relationship with. So telling that story in music, coming out of that and rebuilding myself is the story that Mermaids and Stuff gives you. But the most important thing was my spiritual journey. And what better than to share it with, you know, the likes of Nadia and Shoma Josie and such amazing artists. So it was a very, very spiritual hip-hop album. And I think that's a first for South Africa.
True. Because speaking of first for South Africa, I was listening to like I said, to the album, and I kept feeling like you really pushed yourself, you stretched yourself, you took risks, actually.
Yeah, there was a lot of crying.
With Mermaids and Stuff in particular, I was like, you know, normally when a hip hop song starts, people go, you know what I mean? You know, and for you to literally, for you to risk and start on a, you know, on that journey. Like I said yesterday, I was telling my partner yesterday, and I said, it feels like you paint the world for us. You transport us into this world, you know, where you're not scared that it's a bit too risky, you know?
You know what? 19 tracks is already risky. You know, there were 19 tracks. People hadn't heard of the rapping Gigi for so long because I was experimenting with DJ Tira and King Munada and Makazi. And I just needed that in a time where I was going through a spiritual transition. Because part of going through a spiritual transition is also understanding that I'm African before anything else. I'm a woman before I am anything else. You know, and saying Sawubona and saying Thokoza are very different things. And you need to understand and embody that. So everything was a risk. My life went from being completely upside down to what I believe now is very structured.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes I do find myself speaking njengabokoko, you know. I find myself taking life a little more seriously because there is purpose in everything, and in purpose there's risk, you know. So having the album was a huge risk. Having 19 songs, having such different features, some in Nigeria and some in Tanzania, everything for me was a risk. But I'm just amazed, you know, amazed at how I could get 25K and Black Les on the same album, and people can feel Pitori in different ways.
Yeah.
You know? But I've always been about taking risks. Fufa was one of the biggest songs of my career. It wasn't hip-hop.
Yeah,
it featured King Munada.
Yeah.
People overseas love that song.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely the girl who takes risks.
Yeah, it's funny because when they said Gigi Lamayne is coming, the song that kept playing in my head was your song with Munada.
Are you from Limpopo?
I am from Limpopo, and I'm going to ask you about Show My Josie because I am from Limpopo.
Shout out to my DJ Inface. He's also here. I don't know what it is with me and people from Limpopo, hey? It's absolutely crazy. Like, we just navigate towards each other. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Everybody I'm meeting right now, my DJ is from Limpopo. One of my best friends is from Limpopo. Some of the people I work with are from Limpopo. The artists who I worked with are from... I've practically cleaned Limpopo right now in terms of the artists. So it's crazy, but... Yeah, Fufa, shout out to my squad back in Limpopo. It's definitely home now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It literally played in my head and I was like, okay, Leni, she's got a whole album. You need to come down with the song. You need to focus on the new songs. And, you know, just still speaking of Mermaids and stuff, I just want to know what inspired the title, Mermaids and stuff, you know? Because I also picked up when I was listening, there was like I think with your Show My Josie feature, there's also a painting of like, you know, fairy tale, play words with fairy tales and stuff.
Yes.
You know, that's how I connected Mermaids, but I also thought Mermaids and African spirituality go together sometimes. So what exactly inspired the title?
What you just said. What you just said. I think people are going to think you're the ghostwriter now on the album. Like, Gigi doesn't write her own songs. It's that girl. She knew too much. But that's absolutely it. It's about, you know, mermaids being these mystical creatures, whether you believe in them or not. Yeah. You know, we've heard stories, not just in African spirituality. Like, if you backtrack to sailors in the Navy in Europe, they always talk about this woman they would see, but they'd never see her legs, you know? And as a child, I was always infatuated by it. It's heavily, heavily inspired by my calling, but obviously I can't get into that, you know, for respect around spirituality. But, you know, I always say, whether you believe in mermaids or not, you know, whether you watched Ariel, the Little Mermaid growing up, or you're watching Sirens or whatever it is, the idea is that mermaids are able to get through so much, you know? They risk, you know, being fished by sailors. They risk being taken for scientific experiments. They risk, you know, just the water in itself is dangerous. You know, there are other creatures. And it's almost like if we as humans can become like mermaids and learn to swim through life graciously without, you know, affecting anyone, without people having to, you know aggressively that you exist, then, you know, be like a mermaid. You know, there are ways of being assertive and being respected with coming across respectful. And for me, that was the biggest lesson. I think a lot of humans need to try and be like mermaids. Very swift, moving through life. You know, sometimes life will be tough, the crashing of waves. Sometimes life will be still and quiet and there are no jobs and you're stressing. So be like a mermaid, move through the water, just move with it. Somehow things will work out.
Sure. Wow, that's so deep. I want to speak on the Show My Josie feature.
Yes.
Yo, my fave, guys. I love Show My Josie. But also I'm stereotyped towards Limpopo. You know, it's the name of the song is it
Sobala.
Sobala. Yes. Okay. Firstly, I want to know what it means, right? And then before we get to what it means, there's a line in that song. I think you said something like, I got myself a new whip. And I got another from my cousin. And I was like, girl, did you really get your cousin a new whip also?
So that ties into the story of Sobala. Okay. Right? So Sobala is a notorious traditional healer, like Credo Mota. Nobody really speaks about it. And this is where I come to say young African people need to educate themselves about the heroes that we have, the leaders that we have, people who believe in Africa before anything. Yes. So Sobala was actually known as a traditional healer who basically went and bought a plane from proper legitimate people. And when they opened the briefcase, they claimed that there was only paper in the briefcase. But when they had seen it before, there was money. And the song is basically around perception, you know, that you can make something from nothing, you know. The fact that you can make people believe whatever you want them to believe. The fact that fake it till you make it is actually a real thing. And as long as you're not hurting anyone, what you believe in your mind is possible for you will manifest. And that's about Sobala. So what we've noticed a lot, and I actually mentioned it to Shaw, was that now we're getting a lot of people Googling, who is this Sobala? What is he about? And you'll be surprised that it's beyond the song, you know? Even with Maya's, you know, her wordplay and how she's talking about how she lives this life and she's got drivers driving her, you know? Could it be true? Yes. Couldn't it be true? Yeah, that too. But the fact is, you're living in a moment and you're telling yourself something is possible. So that's where it comes from, perception. Whatever you think you are, you will be, and it will manifest.
Sure. I think, like I said in the beginning, what just fascinates me about how you make music is how layered it is, how nuanced it is, you know. It's much more than just words. And I think that's the beauty of your music, you know. I was saying that your music is so beautiful. It's nuanced, it's layered, and it's also very, I don't know if symbolic is the right word.
Absolutely,
you know? You know, it's not just words. You know, you want to listen to it. Like I said, you pause and you listen and you're like, wait, let me go back to this. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I love about it. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I want to speak about relevance. Probably somebody has asked you this question. Since I've known you, you've remained consistent. Like man, Hauna, oh, Gigi Lamayne is gone. Oh, where is she?
Yeah.
You know? Even when you disappeared, your music kept us going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to know what do you do to keep so relevant and fresh and, you know, keep us entertained?
And it's spiritual. Like it's spiritual. Now I know that it's spiritual. Before I didn't understand what the fighting spirit was, and just my biggest fear is not being able to make history and create a legacy for myself.
Yeah.
I want to die knowing what's here. But Gigi, hey?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even now, I'm starting to adjust into the fact that I've got somebody very special in my life.
Aww.
I'm going to be settling down soon. So it's also important at what kind of music I put out. And I go back to the word relevance, because I can't be doing the same things I was doing now when I have a child, or at least that's how I feel, you know? So my subject matter will change. I really want to heal the world through my music. I really want people to feel me in a different way. For instance, I mean, I shot a video now for one of the songs on the album called Mandingo. And if you're a guy and you're on those XXX websites, you know who Mandingo is, okay? You know who he is, you know? And the story really like takes place in a strip club, you know, where people have always judged strippers. People have always like had the most to say about strippers. And the relevance behind that is that the entertainment industry is coming up very fast. We have the likes of the Fekas coming in the adult world. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. That's a hustle for someone. That's somebody feeding their families. And that's what I'm here to do. So my relevance is very much behind what is happening in society right now. I seek to judge and not to, I seek to understand and not to judge. Sorry. I love to understand people.
Yeah.
And the relevance will be that, telling stories that people don't want to tell. Yes, there are nightclubs in South Africa where there are beautiful women who dance and they make money. And it's not something to be ashamed of. Some of these girls love what they do. You know, some of these girls are feeding families. Some of these girls were left by their fathers and they have to pick up the baton and feed a family of 12 back home. It wasn't her duty, but she's getting up and she's doing something about it. And I say, as long as she's not hurting anyone and she's not hurting herself, let her do it. So for me, relevance is really that. Every time I pick up a story, I always feel the need to be a journalist in my music about it.
Listen,
that's important.
You say journalist, and I'm like throwing my hands because I'm thinking there's something journalistic about you. I swear.
Absolutely.
When I was listening to you speak, I'm like, and I speak from a journalistic perspective because I also did journalism. There's just something about how I feel like you are, I don't like saying people are voiceless. I just think they don't have platform to air what they want to say. Absolutely. But, you know, the common phrase would be being a voice to the voiceless and the people who can't speak up for themselves. You know, speaking of speaking up, hey, you are speaking on Temptation Island. Hey, you're literally, I'm
Gogo
like,
has entered the chats.
listen. I wanted to know, How has the journey been, number one? And are you really looking for love? Or is it, you know, you just care what's
darling. Okay, so I've always had like a bit of an alter ego, and it was blocked spiritually because I just think the time wasn't right. And Temptation Island is just showing like who I really am, you know, who I always really wanted to be, because I was somebody who was bullied in high school. I was always somebody who, like, if I tried to speak up, I was made to feel bad for speaking up. And it's only now in my 20s that I'm finding my voice again. So Temptation Island initially, you know, was for me, like I said, I did come from a very toxic relationship. And I was like, maybe I just need to stop looking in the streets. Maybe I need to go onto a platform where everyone can see and everyone can say, okay, maybe Gigi should do this differently. So I'm taking this very seriously. Like, I go and I read on social media, okay, maybe like my seduction game is not on point, my finesse, because I attracted such a bad, you know, situation into my life. Let me go onto a place where everyone can critique and we can all learn from something. So yes, love was definitely part of it. And I'm somebody I've had a very turbulent career. People know a lot about me, and I think that's the beauty of it. So I went onto the show, but I've also watched the show in the States version of it, and I've always just wanted to be on a show that was like that. You know, the truth, honesty, like challenging myself in front of millions of people. Like I want to see what's in Johnny when I'm angry, or when I'm in love and I don't get my way, or because you're a female rapper, I genuinely have male friends. And it's not that anything has ever happened, but I find that their girlfriends just don't like me. You know, no matter how much I try. And the girlfriend will come at you the way somebody came on at me on the show. And standing up for myself, you know, I heard a lot of girls on social media saying, yes, we also go through this. Sometimes we just have male friends. We don't engage in the relationship, but the girlfriend, we are sfag. And we don't know how to protect ourselves sometimes because we don't want to ruin the relationship with her. But in a situation where I didn't know anyone, I was just like, yo, I need to protect myself. And, you know, that's what I did. And I'm glad people are loving the show. And I know a lot to are just like, yeah, man. Actually, there's just some girls who are bullies. There's some people who are just like that. And I'm glad, you know, I'm not there for spice. What you're going to see on the show is the real Gigi. So shout out to, you know, the people who are involved, the production companies, Afrocons, everyone involved. Guys, that's really me.
Hectic. You know what? I feel like it can never not be serious with Gigi. I'm sure if you're watching at home, you agree with me. I was trying to take a light approach to this interview. Then you went deep. I was talking about girls being bullies. Okay, because we're deciding to be deep, let's be deep.
Yeah, okay.
I saw on your Twitter you collecting, I think, I'm not sure if it's because they were black bags. I'm not sure if it's clothing items for girls. I wanted to know, how can people at home be involved?
Just hit us up. I've got a very efficient team. All you guys need to do is hit us up at bookings@gigilamayne.com and somebody will respond. So if you guys have any like stuff you'd like to give away, then that is the time to do that. Just hit me up. Everybody knows this time of year, people are going into spring. I like to clean up my wardrobe. A lot of artists and, you know, celebrities and people will call me. Leni, please call me. For next year. And if you've got like free things to give out, then like let's go and give them out to young girls. You know, I was at the Salvation Army last year in Kensington. We gave clothes to some girls, and like, guys, it's just amazing the look on somebody's face. Doesn't matter who it comes from. The fact is, like, yo, I got this new dress and it's an absolute vibe. And you know, sometimes you're looking in your wardrobe and you know you're not gonna wear that thing. So just bring it here and let somebody else wear it, you know? Yeah, it's this thing I do every year. I feel really nice. I never used to have much clothing growing up. So yeah.
Is this your way into the UN? Because you said you'd love to work for the UN someday.
I've done initiatives. I did the Global Goals campaign with them. I recently did something around, you know, COVID and the right to education for children. So I am looking for a stable position at the United Nations.
Higher the goal.
I love what Mom Yvonne does. You know, a lot of the work that she does, and I really look up to her in terms of how she's navigated through her career, and I'd love my part to go that way. So definitely the United Nations is on my radar. I would like work tomorrow with the United Nations. yeah, I've always come from such a charitable family.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think you're well on your way there. I do see you. I think Nomzamo was speaking for refugees at some point. I can't remember what exactly the event was about, but I do see you, you know, because you're not just an artist, you're an artist with a purpose. It's not just about entertainment, it's also about education, and also wherever you can help in the community, helping. Just to wrap it up and bring it to a conclusion, I would like to know the kind of legacy you would like to leave.
I would like to leave a legacy that endures forever. I want people to go back to my songs like Nina Simone and remix them.
Sure.
I want children to study my lyrics in university. I'm here to tell the dancer outside a nightclub that you can build from what your surroundings are. Go and build your own club. Go start your own lingerie line. Embrace who you are. I want people to hear my name and there's respect on it immediately because I touched you in one way or another, male or female. I'm tired of women fizzling out of the industry and there's no other story, there's no other legacy, there's no history. I always say to people, money's great. But you go to Durban, July, it's done. Festive is done. January is a different time. But you see legacy and the songs you write and the impact you have in somebody's life endure forever. And that's how I want to be remembered.
Sure. Wow. Who's almost crying? Am I not the one who's always making the guests cry? Now I want to cry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I normally look into the camera and I, you know, summarize what the guest has said, but I don't think I need to summarize anything because you've said so much. But I think whoever will watch this interview will take one thing or the other. It won't just be, you know, one specific moment. There were so many moments where I felt like, yo guys, let's pause, let me take it in. So thank you so much for making time for us. Thank you so much for the work that you do for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you for the music that you put out. You know, I think for others it's just music. For others, it's a beginning of a healing journey.
Absolutely. That's
so. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
That's where we end the conversation for this particular episode. Thank you so much for joining us.